Hi there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 2,900. I gotta look, 50. 2,950 times I've gotten online and talked about my journey and shared lessons learned, talked about what I'm working on, talked about what's working, what's not working, the things I totally F up, because I think that those are the things I personally learned the most from. And they're the things I want you to know, because if you learn my bad lesson, then you don't have to make that mistake. Guess what? There are a gazillion mistakes you can make on your own and figure things out. So if somebody can save you from making the most common mistakes that people fall into, because if I was the only one that did it, I might feel a little bad. And sometimes I find ways to really screw things up like no one else has before. But for the most part, I make the same exact mistakes that every other human being makes that is on a similar journey to me, or in a part of my journey that's similar to other people's, right? We're human beings. We tend to respond and react in predictable ways. The thing is, can we predict for ourselves how we're going to react and respond to certain things? And I say yes, if we want to become self-aware. But that is all off topic today. Let's sip some coffee and chat with you. Today's topic for both the Supersize You annual challenge, our personal development challenge, and the Supersize Your Business annual challenge, our business owner, leader, entrepreneur, world changer group, is criticism. Handling criticism with confidence. Now, I love this topic. I probably didn't when I was younger, probably in high school and college. I didn't take feedback very well, although I learned really quickly, because while I was going to college, I was working out in corporate America. And I was working actually for 3M, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing. And I learned very quickly that positive feedback could cause a negative response to from your peers. And if it was positive feedback from leadership, and negative feedback was freely given anywhere and everywhere in the world and in every level of the organization. So it's really interesting. I loved working while going to college. In the summers, I worked and went to college. For my first 3 summers of college, I worked at 3M in different capacities. I worked at a pilot plant, and then I worked out in Valley, Nebraska, at a production facility for the summer. My youngest sister and I decided we were just going to lay around the pool all summer that year and not work. And my dad had other plans. He's like, no, they need help out in Valley, Nebraska. He was working at 3M at the time for Occupational Health and Safety Division. And yeah, that was his division he was in charge of. And he's like, yeah, no, you girls are going to go out to Valley, Nebraska Monday morning. You're going to report to work and find a place to live. So go now, go pack your stuff. And so we did. And it ended up being probably one of the most fun, most educational, most rewarding summers of my life to date, because it was having to go and do all new things, right? So it was definitely pushing both my and my sister's comfort zone, yet we pulled it off pretty swimmingly. And we had an extremely fun summer doing it, made lifelong friends. Well, I've lost touch with most of them now, which makes me a little sad. I should probably go on social media and see if I can find any of them and see what they're up to, because I'm sure our lives have gone the way we wanted in some ways and the way we didn't want in other ways. All right, so the whole topic of criticism, and when I think of criticism, I think of criticism as negative feedback. Guess what? We all get negative feedback. We all get feedback. We all get negative feedback because it's inevitable. We have to ask ourselves, we always thank the person for the feedback, right? Thanks for the feedback. I'll consider this. Practice saying that. Thank you for the feedback. I will consider that. Or thank you for the feedback. I never saw it that way. I so appreciate that. Let me consider it. Whatever rolls off and feels natural and authentic for you. But people give us feedback, and I think their intent is always good, but sometimes not. There are evil people that have malice intent, right? But I like to believe that most people give us feedback because they're trying to protect us. They don't want us to get our feelings hurt. They don't want us to get our hopes up, whatever is their reasoning. Those tend to be feedback given out of projection of their own fear, not necessarily our fear, right? My family still harasses me about doing online videos. They can't help it. And to be honest, I don't think anybody besides my mom, I think my brother-in-law watched one of my videos and told my sister it was ridiculous. And so I don't know that she's even ever watched any of my videos. So as far as just giving me criticism or a hard time for doing them, since she's not my target audience, I love her. She's my sister. I'll take feedback on other things, but I couldn't care less in one ear out the other about what she or her husband or anybody else in my family that doesn't watch my videos does, because they don't have a clue. And they're not making any content or videos or doing anything online. So totally different apples to oranges comparison. Anyway, I digress. My granddaughter and my mother, I think, are probably my biggest fans. My youngest granddaughter loves to sit and watch my videos with me. Grandma, and she'll make me play them. And I'm like, yeah, I remember. So that's about the extent of my watching my videos back. Just to let you in on a little secret. I think the way to get over your fear of showing up in the world is to do it and then not watch it and criticize it. I have the luxury and the advantage of being legally blind. So it became impossible for me to edit my videos. It would take me so long to edit my videos. I just say what you see is what you get. Or it'd be so expensive because I create 3 videos every day right now. Sometimes I've created as many as 5 or 7 videos in a day. And so to hire somebody to do that, unless I want a full-time person to do that, which maybe someday I will, but to me, it's just about showing up and being authentic and being who I am. I'm starting to not like the word authentic because I think people use it in slimy ways. And oh, you just have to be authentic. Hey, just be yourself, right? My tagline, my favorite tagline since my cardiac arrest is be loving, love being, be you. Why? Because I think that's what we're all here for. I think our purpose, and I came upon this after my cardiac arrest because I had been looking and searching for decades. Well, what's my purpose? What's the meaning of life? Why am I here? What the heck? And I just had an epiphany that we're all here to be the best possible version of ourselves, to create and be and enjoy the journey and create the journey that's right for us. And, sometimes we'll stay on the path of what's right for us. Other times we'll veer off. I spent a whole lot of time veering off and I ended up diametrically opposed to where I really felt and paid attention to how I felt that my life was on track. And it's taken me a decade and a half to get back on a trajectory of showing up and being myself and loving myself for that. The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? It is what it is. So we talked about our review for our super framework, our super process. The one that we're doing for the annual challenges this year is super. Went down to a 5-step process. I think the last couple of years we've had a 7-step process, which is fine. But for me personally, one of my core values right now is to simplify and streamline things. So if I can do it in a 3 to 5-step process, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it in a 5, 10, 20, 30-step process, right? You can make anything as many steps as you want to complicate it, but are we selling complication or are we sharing simplification? I share simplification because I know that as humans, we tend to overcomplicate everything. All right, so I digress. I could tell you some stories about criticism. It cracks me up, but I shared those in the other videos, so I won't repeat them here. Literally, so many stories, right? And it's pretty easy to tell if we step back and take the emotion out of it, because sometimes it does hurt and sting, right? And we step back and we're like, okay, well, are there valid points in that? Absolutely. Anything my daughter tells me, it'll sting because she's my daughter, but I 100% know that her intent is to help me and make me a better human being, and that she's probably dead nuts on, and that I have a blind spot and am not seeing it. Absolutely, positively. Other people, not so much, and I just take it with a grain of salt. All right, if I can help you anyway, hit me up and ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.